Alright, so this week we're taking a look at Just for the Hell of It, and I've really been looking forward to watching this one. Now, I have two copies because they sent me one by mistake when I sent off for Silent Night, Bloody Night, which turned out to be one of the harder DVDs to get a hold of. Let's have a look. Just for the Hell of It is an exploitation film directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis in 1968. For those who don't know, Herschel Gordon Lewis is one of the biggest names in exploitation, directing such films as 2000 Maniacs, Wizard of Gore, and She-Devils on Wheels. He's credited as creating the splatter horror subgenre and is referred to as the Godfather of Gore. A little forewarning for this, the film plays out mostly as a montage, so quite a bit of the synopsis may feel just like a list of events. So the film begins with a house party. Someone gets fishbowl water poured on their heads, and then everyone starts destroying stuff, for quite a while. We get the title with some great artwork and music, and then we jump over to a bar where a band is playing, with a Ringo Starr of their own apparently. We then meet our gang, Dexter, Denny, Lummox and Bitsy, who are laughing about the party last night. Dexter and Bitsy leave and Lummox gets weird with a girl.
Wow, look at that!
He attacks her, and she attacks back. The gang leaves and the girl awkwardly talks to the camera.
He's terrible. And nobody even noticed my new Supergirl uplift.
The gang piss off a passerby and then go for a drive. They throw water at a woman, set fire to someone's newspaper, and flick off a police officer's hat. We then get a weird cut and they set fire to someone's garden and then wet the homeowner. We're then in a diner. A couple walk in. They're called Doug and Jean. The gang doesn't seem to like them. Bitsy goes over acting all flirty and says that Dexter would like to talk to Doug, so he goes over. Dexter says that one of his gang members doesn't like him and he wants to fight him, so they fight. We get some very fake punches and it keeps cutting to this guy. Doug wins and he and Jean leave. The gang then trashes the diner and burns the owner's arms. We're then at a police station when the police have brought Dexter in for questioning. He acts like a dick and leaves.
Everybody's gotta be somewhere.
We then go back to the gang who pick on a blind man and beat him up, attack an injured man, put a baby in the bin and destroy its pram, rip up a woman's magazine, attack an office worker, attack a painter and graffiti on the walls, and finally attack a bike. We then cut over to a high school where 4 girls are standing outside. They get invited to a party by the gang with the promise that a celebrity they like will be there, so they go. They arrive and they look really concerned. Dexter informs them that Rocky Reeves, the celebrity, is late and offers them a drink, which Bitsy drugs. They drink up while being annoyed by really annoying people. After a weird fade to black, the girls get attacked. Dexter says Rocky isn't coming and the girls are crying and they kick them out. We then jump over to a field where some kids are playing baseball. The gang appear and attack them. Doug arrives and tries to fight off the gang, and he's losing when an old woman calls over a police officer. She tells the officer that Doug started it. It really annoyed me. Stupid old bitch. The policeman believes her and takes Doug away.
They were playing ball and he started a fight. Or was it them? No, it was he that started the fight.
After a little strobe lighting, we're in a house with Jean and Doug. They're pissed off for having to pay bail. The phone rings and Jean answers. She says it was a man saying that they were in trouble for squealing. We're then in a bar with the gang and Doug walks in. He asks about the phone call but Dexter plays dumb. The gang then go to the beach and drink beer, or throw it around. What a waste. They see a couple on the beach. They attack the guy, rape the girl, and throw the guy's body, presumably dead, into the water. We then cut to Doug and Jean in a pool. The gang appear and they kind of threaten them.
Just looking, man.
Later, we're at Jean's house and she's waiting for Doug. She calls the police to report the mysterious phone call she got earlier, but they're no help. Also, apparently Doug is 2 hours late. Over to the gang now, and they come up with a plan wherein Bitsy lures Doug over to hers and the gang goes and attacks Jean. The plan seems to work. Doug goes over to Bitsy's as he thinks she's on his side, and the gang snoop around Jean's. Jean puts on this really silly night outfit and turns out the line. The gang attacks and tries to rape her. Bitsy's getting flirty with Doug, but he realises what's going on and rushes over to Jean's, but it's too late. He finds her cut up and nearly dead on the floor. or maybe dead, not sure. He chases them in a car, and the police follow. The gang in the car get pulled up by the police, and Dexter and Bitsy fly off their motorbike and die. We get the name of the film.
Why, son? Just for the hell of it.
And the film ends. So, what did I think? I thought it was good. I'm a fan of Lewis's though, and this film does not disappoint. It reminded me of an early John Waters film, or a sleazier Kenneth Anger film. It was a little slow in places, and the plot was quite thin, but I liked the montage style of filmmaking, and the acting and music were all great. It's very much a time capsule to the angst and fear of the 60s with the hippie and freak gangs and the state of the law at the time. It was quite difficult to watch in parts and cheap as hell in others, but it gives it all a charm. Now for the release. It was okay. The video quality was a little grainy, but for a film this sleazy it really adds to it. Makes you feel like you're watching some bizarre rented VHS in the 80s. The audio was okay. It did have some issues with the music, like here. Not sure if that's intentional or an issue with the DVD. The logo and menu are back. Missed out on the last one, but back here. Just for the hell of it, I guess. And now onto the case. It's not too bad at all. Missing a comma here, but other than that, seems fine. I find it funny that it mentions its favourite bit there. Runtime's spot on. No special features, but we already knew that, didn't we? Some other things worth mentioning. That this film's a 15, which really shocked me. I've seen a lot tamer 18s, and this film has a lot of uncomfortable scenes. It just seems odd. Also, this is where the spine numbers start getting weird. The last film was 20, and this is 22, and as far as I'm aware, still, there's no number 21. Overall then, this was great. If you like sleazy exploitation, or any other works by Herschel Gordon Lewis, you're gonna want to see this. And this print ain't half bad either. I'd recommend both the film and the release.